Hello, this is David Heine, Aspect Art. We're once again in the Museum van Loon, that beautiful canal house on the Keizergracht. This time it's for the house's original owner, or actually he was a renter, not an owner, Ferdinand Bol, a pupil of Rembrandt's, one of the few of which took up etching as a form of art. The Museum van Loon has got together all of Ferdinand Bol's etchings, and they're now on display in a splendid little show of which Tonko Grever, the curator of the show, is going to tell us a little about Ferdinand Bol and the history of his relationship to this house. So join us now for Tonko Grever in the Museum van Loon. Tonko, here we are in the Museum van Loon once again. You've mounted a splendid little exhibition of Ferdinand Bol. What do we know about Ferdinand Bol artistic development?
He was a pupil of Rembrandt, or an assistant of Rembrandt. So in the beginning, in the early works of Ferdinand Bol, you see a very strong influence of Rembrandt in his paintings, in his etchings, in his drawings. But later on, when the style of Rembrandt is actually not fashionable anymore, you can see a move towards a more classical, international style. So that's looking more like the French paintings of the time, and it's not connected to Rembrandt anymore. But he had a big success both with his paintings in the style of Rembrandt and also with his paintings in the classical style. And he painted between 1635 and 1669. So in that time you see the move from his paintings in the style of Rembrandt towards the neoclassical paintings.
Now, as a pupil of Rembrandt, he was certainly exposed to etching, and the primary focus of your exhibition here is Ferdinand Bol's etchings, of which he made a certain number. Could you tell us a little about his development as an etcher? Now, not a lot of Rembrandt's pupils or assistants even went on to etchings, did they?
No, it's amazing. Rembrandt, of course, it was one of the greatest etchings in the world. And you think easily that his pupils would be etchers as well. But if you look carefully at all his pupils, then it's only Ferdinand Bol who made more than a limited number of etchings, and also he published his etchings and sold them. So, for example, Willem Droste made also 4 etchings, but they only survived in 4, 3, 6 exemplars. But Ferdinand Bol made 23, 21 etchings, and some of them are survived in 200, 120. A large amount of numbers are still there, so then you know that he has published them in 300, 400, 500 exemplars. So he was really busy with selling and making etchings. Also in his etchings are the influence of Rembrandt. There are many etchings are closely related to etchings of Rembrandt, but also very closely related to Jan Lievens, a friend of Rembrandt. But it's also that Rembrandt looked at Ferdinand Bol, so they both influence each other also.
Now, one of the etchings up there, you were telling me earlier, in fact, because of a dating manner, that you were able to determine Rembrandt actually borrowed from Ferdinand Bol. And how did that go?
There is a painting of Ferdinand Bol. It's normally dated 1641. But in fact, the date is 1640. So there's an etching of Rembrandt with a figure in the same pose as on the painting of Ferdinand Bol, which is dated 1641. So if you date the painting 1641, then it's logical that Ferdinand Bol looked at the etching of Rembrandt. But if the painting is 1 year before, then it's Rembrandt who looked at the painting of Ferdinand Bol, and Ferdinand Bol made an etching of his painting. So Rembrandt had looked at the etching or painting of Ferdinand Bol. But normally in literature you always will find that it is Ferdinand Bol who copied Rembrandt, but it's the other way around.
Now we're sitting here in the Museum van Loon, which is one of these splendid canal houses. In fact, Ferdinand Bol was a resident in this house, wasn't he?
Yeah, we are very, very lucky. This house is now the Van Loon Museum, with everything about the Van Loon family. But in fact, the Van Loon family only recently, 1884, bought this house, and I mean, you have many more people living before the Van Loon family moved in. The house was built in 1672 for a merchant who bought 4 pieces of ground on which he built 2 houses. He was living in the house next door, and this house was rented out. And the first renter of the house is Ferdinand Bol. So Ferdinand Bol lived in this house from 1672 till 1680. And it's very nice that we prove that the Ferdinand Bol lived here is a lawsuit. Ferdinand Bol rented this house with a coach house at the back of the garden, but the coach house was not finished yet. So he got a quarrel with Mr. Van Rij about the rent. And that lawsuit is still partly preserved in the archives of the city of Amsterdam. And there is written that Dortsman is the architect of the house, and that Ferdinand Bol rented the house from Van Rij, the owner of the house. But unfortunately, half of this burned, and so we don't know the end of the lawsuit. We didn't know if Ferdinand Bol won the case or Jeremias van Rij.
Now, unlike Rembrandt, Ferdinand Bol ended up living in a really splendid house and obviously had some financial success. Could you tell us a little about his life and how he came to live in such a splendid house?
Ferdinand Bol was born in Dordrecht, 1616. He was quite of a wealthy family. His father was a doctor. And he moved to Amsterdam around 1635, went to Rembrandt, and he had success with his paintings. He managed to have a lot of good jobs, so he was a good painter. I mean, he got splendid things to make. So he was a wealthy man, but after his wife died, he married a very wealthy widow, Anna van Erkel. So after his marriage, with the second marriage, he could easily afford himself to rent a large space, large house, like this house. So it's quite a contrast with his master, his teacher Rembrandt, who died as a poor man. Ferdinand Bol died as a wealthy man. So this house proved that.
It seems to me that there is a certain time when you no longer see paintings or etchings by Ferdinand Bol. What happened? Did he just stop painting or what?
He stopped painting, and I think in this house he never made a drawing, a painting or an etching, because there's no etchings or painting or work of him dated after 1669, the year he married Anna van Erkel. So he was here also written in the archive as a dealer and not as a painter. And there's a painting of him in that time made, and there you can see him not as an artist, but as a wealthy dealer, and there's no sign that he was an artist. But I think it's more our romantic view of a painter who is so dedicated to his art that he continues to paint all his life. But I think in the 17th century it was also a career, and he was 45 years old, and he just stopped. He retired of painting, and I think it's contrast with our opinion about art. But I think in the 17th century it was it was not unusual to do so.
Now, during Ferdinand Bol's career as a painter, he was most famous for some very large paintings. Did he do something for the Stadthouse?
Yeah, the biggest success Ferdinand Bol had was when the new town hall Stadhuis was built. He got a very honorable job to do to make a very large painting, Pyrrhus and Fabricius. It was the painting of the Stadhuis of the town hall, and was the talk of the town. Everyone knew the painting. People went to see it. Also visitors from abroad. It was a very well-known painting, a very important painting. So you can say that was the top of his career when he got the job to make that painting, because it was really in one of the more important rooms of the town hall, the Burgermaster room, and there's that painting. So it was really about a moral, about ruling a city. It was Ferdinand Bol who painted it. That's why we have got a combination. You can buy here tickets, which also gives entrance to the Stadhuis. So you can see here his house as a proof of his success and his wealth. And you can also visit the Stadhuis, now the Royal Palace on Dam Square, to see his masterpiece. His proof of his success can be seen here and in the Royal Palace.
Well, speaking of here, you have this exhibition up now. How long will it be here, and when can the people come and see it?
The big exhibition will be here in the house till the end of August. And because of the exhibition, we open the house every day from 11 till 5 o'clock, so people can visit us every day, daily. It's the museum open.
So as well as coming to see the exhibition, they can see a lovely old 18th century canal house.
Yeah, I have to warn the people that the house itself is 18th century. So you shouldn't expect 17th century interiors here in the house. But Ferdinand Bol is back, but not in his own interior, but he's back with his etchings, documents and paintings.
Tonko, thank you very much for being with us today.
Thank you very much.